Hello, Sam Lee here from Sing with Nightingales with a thank you for the 2026 season, but also to take a bit of time to speak about what it is actually I want to say thank you for. Because what happened over the 8 weeks that we were here with myself, the Sing with Nightingales team, the musicians and you in the woods meeting was really something quite extraordinary this year. It was a season of seasons. Spring, I'm always reminded, is that timeless time of the year, a slippery period. It's kind of marked by episodes as rampages of moments governed by a billion wild clocks, sometimes racing forward, sometimes icily backwards. And we began, quite unbelievably, in a quiet stillness in winter's pensionage. These woods were bare-boned and cold, just like the early sun-seeking flowers carpeting the floor, catching those earliest, thinnest rays of spring light. And over those 8 weeks, we stewarded in summer. We didn't just witness a season changing, we witnessed the land become pregnant, give birth, raise children, and then, metaphorically speaking, saw them go through puberty into adolescence and establish themselves as here it is in full maturity. The bluebells obviously came first, and they lingered way longer than ever. In fact, they kind of preceded that extraordinary flag white decoration of the wood anemones, a real ancient woodland favourite. But the bluebell shaded their moments and then were overcome afterwards by the tortrix moth caterpillars that trapezed and descended in what could really only be called a once-in-a-generation infestation of these trees, sending the birds into a fizzy protein delight. And it was a frenzy of feeding that filled the canopy with wings and noise. Extraordinary. And for 3 weeks, the oak trees here sizzled all day and night with those little nibblers chewing almost every leaf off the oaks. They've started to re-leaf, thankfully. But we watched 2 full moons wax and wane. We heard 2 very rivalrous cuckoos singing day and night sometimes. And they made a personal commitment, I think, to cameo at almost every one of our gatherings. And the first one arrived unbelievably on cue at around exactly 6:45 p.m. on the 16th of April. I remember it well, in the middle of a singing workshop. We had meadows rich in skylarks. The coppice here brimmed with black caps and garden warblers. Ravens reappeared in the wood after a very long time. Baby tawnies squeaking delightfully through the night, reminding us as we pilgrimed to the nightingales that life was far from asleep at that time of the night. This was never a one-bird wonder show, I can assure you. The barn owls with their deathly screeching were more prominent than we've ever known them here, ghosting over the fields, fueled by an immense explosion of mice, themselves fattened on last year's sensational drop of acorn mast from these oaks. I sometimes wonder, did the oaks actually know that as they were dropping seed last autumn, that this year they were going to be feasted upon? We'll never know. But I do know that everything is connected here and everything is in conversation. And we were part of that conversation in no insignificant way. This was an exceptional spring, exceptional in its abundance, in its wildness, in its willingness to make itself heard, a delectable cacophony. Yet one sound mesmerised us above all others. It's the song of the nightingale. Because of course, the nightingales. That is why we were here. We listened as over 20 pairs arrived in this parish here. One by one, we heard them set up residence, and as they gave us their greatest gift of song, we sang with them and held vigils as they sought their mates. And then, one by one, full quiet, that bittersweet quietness that tells you that the silence is pleased, and so were the birds. Nightingale is done, and another urge of nature has been satisfied. Those nightingales are our real uncontractable collaborators. They're our irresistible guides. They are the font of song, the keepers of an orality deeply ancient, with an avian intelligence that we just couldn't manufacture if we tried. In fact, we couldn't do this work without them, and really they get our biggest thank you of all. But the thing about experiences that exist across a threshold is it can be hard to orientate without knowing what it is affecting in you, our participants. How with this work we can steer and what we can and can't do if we can't see the sparkle of those stars that we lay under in your eyes. And this year brought us really extraordinary new clarity through the gathering circles that we had every morning, those meetings where people shared so much the next day. And it reminded us why this work matters, why it moves deeper than we've ever done for the previous 10 years. I think we were really able to listen to you, our woodland friends, deeper than we have ever done so before. And what we heard was that no two people ever had the same experience. No two of you ever reflected on your night with the birds in the same way. And there's an understanding that we've come to this year more clearly than ever that what we are doing is not a theatre show, not of a rigid script, not the same chord progressions, the same performance night after night. This whole thing really actually is an improvisation in collaboration with whatever shows up. There is always some gesture from the natural world that astonishes, but always it is shaped by what you, our community, bring to those nights. And sometimes, always in ways that you don't even realise. Every one of you who shared something somewhere with us has revealed a revelation for us on the power of this work and this place, and what it means to facilitate a genuine entanglement between humans and nature. And that meeting is soulful, it's individual, it's utterly bespoke. It can't be templated and it can't be replicated. It can only be lived and only by those who show up. And this year you showed up and from every corner of the world too. It's extraordinary. From North America, we had guests coming from all across that continent, from Australia, from many African nations, and of course from all across Europe and every corner of the British Isles, not forgetting home. People for whom Britain is their birthplace, and people for whom it is their adoptive home or a destination to discover this singular, wild, feathered occurrence. But something that felt especially high frequency this year was our individual and collective sense of belonging. It's a word that I know elicits challenges for many of us as much as it can initiate senses of yearning. But the word belonging carries complicated, sometimes painful history and references. But we've been reflecting upon this idea a lot this year. It was a word that kept on being mentioned, and we appreciate how much the loss of belonging was so interconnected with the lived realities of the more than human world and those trying to find a place of belonging or home. Once again, the devastating separation of nature and humans was challenged through these shared experiences of disenfranchisement, of rootlessness. And what we witnessed again and again is that experiences like this, they override passports, rights to remain, even senses of trespass. They bypass the permissions our societies ask us to carry just to feel entitled to be somewhere, to feel part of something. What we've been trying to build here, and what I believe we have built here, however briefly and however provisionally it is a genuine lived practice of what life can feel like when we feel rooted, when we feel in deep kinship with the land, with each other, with something older and bigger than any of us. I know that for most of you, these were short moments. There were hours, a night, a day even. And yet so many of you told us that in that brief time spent here on this land, something shifted. That there was a short-circuiting of all that our lives, our laws, our social conditioning has done to separate us from nature. And from that sense of being of the earth rather than merely on it, from us existing as human doings to human beings, human belongings even. So we are hugely, hugely grateful to the land here, Nolan's Farm, and the Strawberry Hill Wildlife Trust for letting us create these glitches in the matrix and these small, very radical, but I think necessary experiences of timelessness, of interconnectedness, and of what it means to dissolve the sense of otherness between us and the living world. This season also brought us the sensation of music. Artists of extraordinary range and calibre. Many came thinking this was a gig. Many left feeling it was closer to a transmission, an interspecies collaboration and a connection through worlds. This is a threshold work, and it's on a creative level too. We're inviting artists to co-create with the wild, just as our ancestors did. But we offer no roadmap. There is no blueprint of this, only a gentle holding that we offer, an invitation to step into a space that most musicians never get anywhere near, let alone any kind of training for. A space where the birds listen to our human song, not like our usual practice of just othering and objectifyingly adoring the bird's song, where you participants become the bush and the branch, you become the vessel and the vibration, where the performance and the listening become the same act. And it is the artists who dared to step into that unknown so bravely, often for the first time, and to tune in. It's a real act of courage, literally a work of cour, from the French, of the heart. So I thank the musicians, and I want to thank many others too. Our volunteers, their dedication is invisible in the architecture of everything we do. They work so hard, as did our entire crew, our head chefs and our cooks, our workshop leaders, all the amazing participants who were part of the construction. You held that container so that everybody else could let go within it. So to our core team, my fellow host and co-hosts, and all of the year-round Singing with Nightingales team who work so tirelessly and give such brilliance to making sure that this is the work that it should be. So a special thanks to the families and the land that we are on, and those who've stewarded these woods. To them I give a huge thanks, but really to the land itself for looking after us, for all the small dances that this land performed, reminding us that we are in the presence of something very wild, very big and very alive. Thank you to the barn owls, the tawny owls, the cuckoos, the marsh frogs, the barking muntjac deer, the howling foxes, the snuffling badgers, who all acted as wild folly makers and fabulous supporting actors. But of course to you, our community, our participants, and you are the reason we do this. You are our sunlight, you are our water, you are our root system that feeds this work, and you are the canopy that lets us and this work breathe. So looking forward, the coppicing over the ancient woods here on this land has been a great teacher to us. And when you cut back with care and thought, you let new light in, new growth comes, the woodland becomes more biodiverse, more able to hold more life, more kinds of life. And this has really got us thinking. That is what we want for our team and this organisation, to keep letting light in, to keep growing in ways that can hold more people, more experiences, more of the vast and irreducible range of what it means to be human in the presence of the wild. To remove the dark canopy of life's trials and allow for our true senses of inseparability and wild sovereignty to be shone upon. For us to photosynthesize in the unhindered light of nature's glory. We would love you to be part of shaping this. You are not just participants, you are the ecology of our doing, part of our root system and our mycorrhizal interplay. Tell us what you need from this work. What moved you this year? Where would you like this to go, and what light should we be reaching towards? We want to hear this from you. So finally, as we have been living all season long in a state of constant awe and near total exhaustion, we want to say just this. Thank you for showing up, for staying open, for looking after each other and for looking after us. I don't think many of you realise how much you cared for us through this work. And to misquote the celebrated Palestinian writer Mahmoud Darwish, there are 1 million nightingales and they are still singing in the branches of our hearts. We'll see you in the woods here in 2027. I can't wait. And the campfire awaits too. Loads of love. Thanks for being here.